And this week's comic lesson, we are actually going to draw a comic. Take a piece of cardstock, if you got it, just one, and let's come in half an inch. Make you two marks on each side of the half and half. Half and half. Find my other pencil. Okay. Here's one. We're drawing a border here. The half inch from the edges. We're just going to do a one panel today. We're going to actually make a comic of sorts. Normally I do the lettering first. This time we're going to actually draw the character. So just draw your character that you've been drawing. It can even be a close-up if you want it to be. Let's do that. I'm going to make his head a little bigger. And you can do them in any rough it in, then add to it. But you can do them in any pose that you want to. I'm of course doing my Zack the Zombie Hunter. Okay, got that done. I want the 1/8 inch mark. Do you about 8 or 10 marks on 8 inches on either side. That's where we're going to put the words. Just draw your lines all the way across. And I will tell you what the words are here in just a minute. Probably won't be able to see me as I'm writing them. But we're going to ink it in, then I'll tell you what you actually are going to be writing. Okay, let me go ahead and write that in. It didn't seem to fit just right, and I didn't want to hyphenate. And just bring you a balloon around it with a tail, so you know he's saying it. Now we are going to start inking. Get the thick one, and I like to do my border first after I've got everything drawn in it, and I like it to be a little thicker. And on the word balloons, you can do either or, is however you like it. But the way I like it is I'd rather, instead of going all the way across, I like to skip the spot where the balloon actually touches the border and just leave that open. You don't have to, you can go straight across if you want to. I just like it better for myself. Let's see. Now, get you a regular size pen. Start doing you some inking. Hope you've been practicing your lettering. Yeah, the stuff from the lessons, you can always go back and keep practicing and just filling your book up with that. And if you fill your book completely up, go buy a new book and start over. Filling up a new book. And you can have stuff going off the page. That's fine if you plan it that way, which I did. and he's wearing black, so I've got lines in here for shading and just contrast. And I'm going to leave white. Give him eyebrows. Got a little swoop there. His hair is black too. I'm going to use the big Sharpie because I've got a lot of black on my character. You may not have a lot of this depending on what you're drawing. This is just like a wrinkle in the shirt, just giving it a little contrast. And that's my phone! Yay, right in the middle of the list. Back to coloring. Oh. Oh no. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to the middle one again, the thick one but middle, to finish this up, because you know how I like to do the outer lines as the make it pop a little more. The hands. And all we got left is the lettering, which usually, whenever you see me lettering from here on, I will most likely be lettering first. I usually do that first, but this time I was doing it a little different. And just ink in your bubble. And down here on the bottom, I like to put the title. And then I put, in my case I have a website, so I will put that. And I'm usually drawing on something bigger and I have room for everything, but in this case I'm going to put my name on the side. And this is what we call the gutter. It's usually between panels. This one just surrounds it. And a little copyright symbol because that's mine. Yay. And we have a finished, completed comic now. And this says, oh no, we haven't learned about backgrounds yet. And we haven't. That's why I say the lettering for last. It's a nice little comic, but it's all blank. There's nothing behind there. So this lesson is going to be about backgrounds because we're not through with the lesson yet. And you can take an eraser and erase all of this after you get through before you Xerox it, which I don't have to Xerox this. This will fit on my scanner. So I can actually scan this one in. It'll fit on my scanner. When I do the 11 by 17s, I have to Xerox it as 64% reduction to fit it on something this size so it will fit on my scanner. But now we're going to talk about some backgrounds. I tell you what. Oh goodness. Da, da, da. Oh. So grab your books, and I am going to ink. I'm going to use ink instead of a pencil. Let's see. Yes. And we're just going to do backgrounds. You can have simple backgrounds like let's say you got a couple of guys there talking. You just do that simple line. Let's put a box around this so we know what we're doing. That simple line now has become a horizon, and a simple squiggle like this has become two bushes. You can put as much detail as you want to with it, and if you take a even smaller pen, get a little less, you do some cross hatching and squiggly lines, you just gave the bush some shadow. Do the cross hatching followed by squiggly line, and then if you want to, you can do like a round circle with lines around it, and you got the sun. And say, well, that's not enough. Well, then throw a mountain in there or a volcano. Do some lines down it, and you got some smoke. And these can be cavemen or islanders or Mississippians wondering where the heck did a volcano pop up from. But it's simple things like that, and basically you just want to go outside, or you can go on the internet and just look at different backgrounds and like you can make all sorts of plateaus and mountains. Out in the desert. You can even have a big old rock like you see in the cartoons up on top of it. Use the smaller pen to give it more detail and shading. And maybe even use to give a second horizon with a further off mountain range. Stuff like that. And the background doesn't have to be outside, it can be inside. So, you know, it may be a lamp on an end table. I tell you who did some fabulous backgrounds was Calvin and Hobbes creator, Bill Watterson. Just, if you used to read a Bill Watterson book, Calvin and Hobbes, just study his backgrounds. And it can be as simple and as detailed as you want it, you know, as cartoony or realistic as you want it. And remember, most likely this will be in a panel, and you can put the wall behind it. You can even put like a picture showing on the wall of a abstract art or whatever. Just put some cross hatching here and there, just for effect, shadow under the thing. So your background can be anything. So basically what you want to do is just start practicing drawing different things. You can sit in your room and draw a couch or a chair sitting over in the corner. And you know, that could be a background. you know, just anything can be a background, depending on what you want and how you're gonna do it. You know, trees. And bring the leaves down a little further, and like I say, give it the under thing a little, and here and there, just and even the limbs themselves, give them a little shadow, or trunk even, that's directly under the limbs, under the leaves. Give it some texture. You have a lot of roots. Come in with your small pen and add some more shadow to it. Give it some grass. Nobody's been cutting around this tree. And that's another thing, just grass here and there. And when you're doing the thing, you know, you might have some patches of grass that are taller than the rest. Then you could have tree line that's behind. It can either be a bush or it could be a tree line behind the horizon that you don't actually see the trunks of the trees. Just leave it up to whoever's looking at it as to what they're seeing. You could have a partial view of a building or a house. And some more rolling hills. More trees. And then of course clouds. You could always have a wispy cloud in the sky, more than one. And just like that, you've got you know, anything. And like 10, you just add a little ridge to the side and just give it some lines like that, and you got a tin roof. You know, it might be a rock in the field. But I suggest just going outside, drawing different areas, just pieces of areas, and then doing it from memory and just making up stuff as you go, or go online and look at different buildings and whatnot, and just do pages and pages, just like you did your practicing on your people or whatnot. Do your practicing on your backgrounds, because you'll have comic strips that I have the backgrounds in there, and when you're doing them, you might have whoever's talking, you might have the background running behind them and have that, but then you might do a close-up of their face and just you not even worry with the background on that, because you're dealing with them and you got a word balloon in there, and you know, you can ignore having a background on the close-ups, and then maybe pull back and see the full people and more of the background and whatnot. So just practice your backgrounds, and next lesson we're gonna actually start making some comics. So just keep practicing what I've been showing you.